Welcome to the Alchemical journey. Here we are in another beautiful Somerset village, the village of Hornblotton, and we're actually here at Hornblotton Village Hall, where our weekend will take place on the 6th and 7th of November. I'm John Wadsworth, this is Anthony Thorley, and it's exciting, isn't it? Here we are again in Scorpio.
In this strange, well, not really strange, we have to say it's just another village name, Hornblotton, but you may not have come across a name like this before. And it does in fact mean what it seems to mean. Its old name means hornblower town, and that's gone from the 9th century, in Saxon times. And the story is that around here there was a tower built where Hornblotton Church now is, and a guy used to walk to the top of the tower with a horn when they saw the waters rising, because we're really quite on the Somerset levels here, on the flat land, and water was always a big issue, and water is a big issue in Scorpio.
It is, yeah. Here we are in the second water sign of the year,
Yeah.
so it does seem kind of appropriate that there's a lot of a big water story here.
Yeah.
in this village. And yeah, the water in astrology represents feeling and emotion. And depth, and the flow of how blood flows, how water flows through our veins, through our lives. And in Scorpio we really go deep. This is perhaps the deepest journey of the year, and it's, I think, the most profound, the most powerful. And I think that the wealth of experience that can come out of this weekend, we recover things that we've lost. I think that's one of the beauties of this side of Scorpio. It's about recovering something that maybe has been hidden from us, that's been buried underground in our psyche. It's been buried, and that process of recovering truth, something more truthful, and something more deeply authentic about who we are, is a big part of it.
But on the workshop, I think it's fair to say that the recovery of this buried material is something that happens very naturally. We don't do any digging. We're not asking people to find things which are really difficult for them. I think we just allow, in the spirit of Scorpio, this kind of stuff to come to the surface, if indeed it does. But sometimes we do indeed carry secrets, and secrets are very much a part of this kind of Scorpio energy.
Yeah, absolutely, doesn't it?
But we're going to go into it very gently.
That's right.
We don't take anybody anywhere where they don't want to go. I think that's important to say. So that's a tradition we have on all our workshops, is we don't kind of open the psychological books at all. We stay at a very nice kind of comfortable level and just let nature work in a rather wonderful way. It's interesting as well, because on the Sunday, as usual, we'll be doing a walk in this area, and we are on the Scorpio figure, or we're supposed to be on the Scorpio figure, because of all the 12 figures of the Glastonbury Zodiac, this is the least clear. This is the one where people seem to pop up every few years with a new idea of exactly where in the landscape the figure is. So we've got at least 3 scorpions to choose from. We've also got 2 eagles as well, and so one of the things I'll be telling people about who come on the workshop is, well, you pays your money and you takes your choice. Eventually we will walk on the scorpion figure. What an incredible walk it is.
You've got your own version of the Scorpio.
Well, I think that's the 3rd one, yes, that's right.
We're going to keep that a secret.
I put a few more legs on, make it a bit more realistic. Just to point out where we are on this Scorpio figure, this is Hornblotton, and this is the church where we're now standing, and you can see the body of the scorpion here, and the claws, and the sting down at Lidford, where there's a church with a very, very sharp spire, just exactly where the sting is. And then down here at Alford there's another remarkable church that we will be visiting, and that's one way of looking at the scorpion. But there is actually another way where people have said it's not a scorpion, it's actually an eagle. And on this one you can see Hornblotton here again, but this time there's the wings of an eagle, and of course that is one of the symbols of Scorpio as a sign. So is it an eagle, is it a scorpion? That's something we'll be trying to work out when we walk this landscape on our weekend.
Just thinking about what we learn on the Scorpio weekend, and where we go, and it's got so much to do with really experiencing life in its fullness, doesn't it? And it's, again, because we're riding that edge that we do in Scorpio, it puts us in touch with our with our deep passion, with that intensity for life, that intense will to be alive. I think almost more than any other sign. And I think it's that proximity to death. When we touch death in the season, it puts us in touch with what it is to be alive, perhaps more than any other sign. So I think it has that great depth, and of course we explore our relationship through Scorpio with our sexuality, with our passion, with our intensity. We explore passion, of course, at the beginning of the journey in Aries, don't we? And then we kind of revisit passion again here in Scorpio, because again Mars rules both Aries and Scorpio. But it's a very different experience of what it is to be alive, of that passion for life and how we experience that in our lives. Very different when we get here, isn't it? We get it's got this darker edge to it,
and it's a much deeper rooted, kind of bone deep kind of feeling of passion, and it leads to all those kind of sort of secrets and things that we all carry and have, and it's all part of being alive, really, isn't it? All that, and that's all very much in the Scorpio energy, one way or the other.
We really honour the secrets, don't we, in Scorpio? It's one of the things we do. We don't it's not about exposing secrets as much as just recognising them and honouring that they're there.
Absolutely.
And actually that they serve a real function.
Absolutely.
Keeping things private, keeping things secret. It's actually a really important
very important
part of
to
life,
have parts of ourselves, perhaps almost eternally private. And it's a very important part of being alive, that. Having sort of complete separateness for certain things of our own, and that's that. Yes, it's very important. Sharing and holding is a very important thing.
And recognising the shadow. This is another big theme that we have of the weekend, is really recognising the shadows that, as the shadows gather in the season. The shadows seem to be longer somehow, and have a different quality to them somehow this time of year. And so, exploring our own, the shadow that we carry around with us.
And Jung said shadow is pure gold, and that's where we find the real treasure.
It's a great paradox, isn't it?
Yes, it is, that in that thing that perhaps we're rather fearful of, because we don't quite know what it is, there indeed we will find something. And people do, they find they can paint and they didn't know they could, or they can sing and they didn't know they could, or they can do something or other which they had no idea. Often people find an incredible talent in the Scorpio energy.
It's almost like the energy of Scorpio holds those hidden treasures for us until we're ready to recover them and claim them back. And maybe this is what this part of the journey is all about.
I think so, and it just gently allows people to open the doors to those insights. We're not digging around or kind of in any kind of way, I think, confronting people. We're just allowing people very naturally to find this depth, find this passion in their lives, and express and enjoy it.
It feels like we're so deep in deepest, darkest Somerset here, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, and just a small walk in a few sparsely populated villages, and yet the imagery and the kind of richness of symbols which come out of just 2 churches that we visit, and some woodlands that we walk through, and some fields that we walk through, and yet it's just absolutely bubbling with this Scorpio type imagery.
So different to Libra, isn't it? Such different feel the whole way round.
And we're just a few miles away in the same county. It's quite extraordinary and very, very fascinating, but it works out like that. But that's one of the real pleasures of the alchemical journey, to be able to sort of take into ourselves the experience on one day at a practical level, and then walk some of that experience in a kind of more, contemplative way the next day, and see the whole as a rounded whole thing. Quite a precious thing.
So it all happens on the 6th and 7th of November 2010 here in Hornblotton, which is just a few miles south of Shepton Mallet, about 8 miles from Glastonbury. Please come and join us. If you want to find out more details, have a look on the website, which is www.thealchemicaljourney.co.uk, and we hope to see some of you for our Scorpio weekend.